I didn't mean to hear it. I wasn't trying to listen. I wasn't suspicious. Not even for a second. It was just another long evening when I came home exhausted, shoulders heavy, mind drained from work and responsibility. The rain outside was soft, tapping gently against the windows like a quiet rhythm that usually helped me relax. Everything felt normal, safe, predictable. I stepped inside, closed the door behind me slowly, loosened my tie, and reached toward the light switch. And that's when I heard her voice. Calm, relaxed, almost amused. Something about it felt unfamiliar, not wrong, just different enough to make me pause. So I stopped in the hallway, half hidden in the shadows, listening without meaning to. And then she said it. He doesn't even realize the house isn't really his. My fingers froze midair. My breath stopped halfway through my chest. For a moment, I genuinely thought I misheard her, that maybe I misunderstood the tone or the context. But then her friend laughed softly, and Elena, my wife, said something that didn't just hurt, it shifted something deep inside me permanently. He's just convenient. Convenient. That word echoed louder than anything else. 7 years of marriage. 7 years of trust, sacrifice, and shared plans. Reduced to one word. Convenient. Not husband. Not partner. Just useful. I stood there in silence while something inside me tightened slowly. And then she leaned back and added, almost casually, once everything is finalized, he won't even know what happened. That's when it hit me fully. This wasn't just frustration. This wasn't just distance. This was a plan. Careful, patient, calculated. And I was never supposed to hear any of it. I could have walked in right then. I could have turned on the lights, looked her straight in the eyes, and asked her what she meant. Demanded explanations. Demanded honesty. But I didn't, because something inside me shifted in that exact moment. Not loudly, not dramatically, quietly, coldly. I stepped back from the hallway, careful not to make even the smallest sound, and walked out of the house again. The rain felt colder this time, sharper, more real against my skin. I stood outside for several minutes, trying to process what I had just heard. Shock doesn't hit all at once. It spreads slowly, like cracks forming in glass. And with every passing second, more pieces started falling into place. Every time she insisted things be under her name. Every time she avoided serious financial conversations. Every time she smiled gently and said, "Trust me." And I did, without hesitation, without question. That was my mistake. When I finally walked back inside, I made sure my face looked exactly the same. Calm, neutral, unchanged. She greeted me like nothing had happened, like she hadn't just revealed the truth behind my entire life. She smiled, walked toward me, and kissed my cheek softly. "Long day?" she asked. For a moment, I almost lost control, because her voice sounded so real, so familiar, so convincing. But now I knew the difference between truth and performance. "Yeah, just tired," I replied quietly, and that's when the decision settled inside me. If she could pretend without guilt, then I could pretend without hesitation. From that moment forward, she wasn't the only one acting. The next few days didn't feel like my life anymore. They felt staged, like I was watching a carefully written script unfold in real time. Every smile she gave me felt rehearsed. Every word felt measured. Every touch felt intentional. And the worst part was, if I hadn't heard that conversation that night, I would have believed everything. That realization stayed with me constantly, because it meant she had been doing this for a long time. Long enough to make it effortless, natural, convincing. I started noticing things I had ignored before. Her phone always placed face down on the table. The way she angled the screen slightly away from me when texting. Late-night messages that made her leave the room quietly. Calls she suddenly needed privacy for. And the excuses. Always calm. Always ready. Always believable. I didn't question her. I didn't interrupt. I didn't react. I just watched, because now I understood something important. She didn't just think I was convenient. She thought I was predictable, easy, blind, and that changed everything, because I wasn't reacting anymore. I was learning, observing, understanding her patterns, her timing, her behavior, and once you truly see someone for who they are, you can't go back to who you were before. That version of me, the one who trusted without hesitation, was already gone. Being underestimated gives you something powerful. Time, and time, when used correctly, becomes control. While she continued living her life as if nothing had changed, smiling, talking, planning, I started moving quietly beneath the surface. I reviewed everything carefully: documents, ownership papers, financial structures, and what I found confirmed everything I feared. The house wasn't legally mine. Most of the financial control leaned in her favor. It wasn't accidental. It was intentional, carefully designed over time, layer by layer, and for a brief moment, I almost admired how precise it was. Almost. But admiration fades quickly when betrayal is involved. So I adapted. I began restructuring my business. Not suddenly, not in ways she would notice. Slowly, carefully, I moved ownership, created legal barriers, shifted control into structures she couldn't reach. Every move calculated, every step silent, and the most important part, I didn't change how I behaved around her. I remained the same man she believed I was. Predictable, trusting, convenient, because the more comfortable she felt, the less she paid attention. And that gave me exactly what I needed. Time. I didn't go looking for the other man, but eventually I found him anyway. Or maybe I just stopped ignoring the signs that had always been there. His name was Victor. Confident, polished, precise. The kind of man who speaks carefully and never says more than necessary. At first, he was just a name that appeared too often. Then a number that showed up repeatedly. Then a pattern I couldn't ignore. And eventually, a reality. But the truth hit harder than I expected. He wasn't just someone in her life. He was her lawyer, which meant this wasn't emotional. It wasn't impulsive. It was structured, planned from both sides. And suddenly everything made sense in a way that felt almost cold. This wasn't just betrayal. It was coordination, a shared plan, a shared outcome. And I was at the center of it without ever being included. That realization didn't break me. It hardened me, because now I understood exactly what I was dealing with. Two people who believed they had already won. Two people who believed I would never see it coming. And that gave me something they didn't expect. Awareness, control, patience. 3 months passed before they made their move. 3 months of silence, observation, quiet preparation. 3 months of pretending nothing had changed while everything had already shifted. And then one evening, it finally happened. I walked into the house and immediately felt it. That subtle tension in the air. That kind of silence that doesn't feel natural. The kind that tells you something has already been decided. And then I saw him, sitting at my table, comfortable, confident, like he belonged there, Victor, and beside him, my wife, calm, composed, certain. "This is long overdue," she said.
No hesitación, no emotion.
Just a statement, as if she was finishing a task, not ending a marriage. Papers were placed neatly in front of me. Divorce documents, prepared, structured, finalized. They had planned everything carefully. The house, the savings, the business. Every detail accounted for, every outcome predicted, except one, me, because they expected something very specific. Panic, anger, confusion, resistance. They expected me to react, to lose control, to make mistakes. Instead, I sat down slowly, looked at both of them without rushing, and smiled. And in that moment, something shifted in the room, because for the first time, they weren't entirely sure what I was going to do. "You should keep reading," I said calmly. Victor didn't like that. I could see it immediately in the way his posture stiffened slightly. But he continued anyway, page after page, line after line, until something changed. Slowly at first, then all at once, his confidence started to fade, replaced by confusion, then concern. Elena noticed it instantly. "What's wrong?" she asked, her voice still controlled, but no longer relaxed. She could feel it. Something wasn't going according to plan. Victor hesitated for a brief moment, then adjusted the papers again. "The structure has changed," he said carefully. Simple words, but heavy enough to shift everything in the room. Elena turned toward me sharply. "What does that mean?" she asked, and for the first time, there was something new in her voice. Uncertainty. Real. Unfiltered uncertainty. I leaned back slightly in my chair. Calm. Steady. Controlled. "It means what you prepared is no longer accurate," I said. Silence followed immediately, the kind that stretches longer than expected, the kind that forces realization to settle in slowly. Victor kept flipping through the pages again, but now his movements were different, less confident, more careful, because now he wasn't reviewing a plan. He was trying to understand what went wrong. "You moved everything?" she asked, her voice softer now, not weak, but no longer certain. I shook my head slightly. "Not everything." That answer didn't comfort her. It made things worse, because uncertainty leaves too much room for fear. Victor stayed quiet, still scanning the documents, but his silence spoke louder than anything else. "You still get what you wanted," I continued. "The house is yours." For a brief second, relief appeared across her face. Small, controlled, but visible. It gave her something to hold on to, something stable, but it didn't last. "Everything else," I added slowly. "The business, the contracts, the accounts." I paused for just a moment, then finished. "Those were never yours to take." Silence followed again, but this time it felt heavier, more final. Victor leaned back slightly, exhaling quietly. He understood it before she fully did, because he knew what it meant legally, what it meant strategically, and when it finally settled in for her, it showed. Not anger, not yet, but something deeper, control slipping away, piece by piece, with no way to recover it. "You knew," she said. It wasn't a question. It was realization. Slow, heavy, unavoidable. I nodded once. Yes. That single word carried everything. Months of silence. Months of watching her carefully. Of learning who she really was beneath the version she showed me. "You let me believe," she started, her voice quieter now, less controlled. "I let you be yourself," I replied, because that was the truth. I didn't change her. I didn't interfere. I didn't stop her. I simply watched, and in doing that, I saw everything clearly, the person I thought I married, and the person she actually chose to be, and in the end, that difference became impossible to ignore. Victor gathered the papers slowly, his movements now careful, deliberate. He already understood. This wasn't recoverable, not strategically, not in the way they planned. Elena stood there still, looking at me like she was seeing someone she didn't recognize. Maybe she was, because the man who trusted her without question, the man who believed every word she said, that man was gone, and in his place was someone she never expected, someone who had been watching all along. I didn't stay after that. There was nothing left to say.
No argument. No confrontation. No dramatic ending.
Just silence. The kind that comes when everything has already been understood. I picked up my coat slowly, every movement controlled, deliberate, walked toward the door without rushing, each step steady, not heavy, not hesitant, just final. And then I paused, not because I wanted to stay, but because I wanted to remember something, who I used to be, before all of this, before the lies, before the realization, before the moment everything changed. You were right, I said quietly. She looked at me immediately, confused, uncertain, searching for something she could still hold on to, waiting. He was too trusting. The words landed differently this time, not as an insult, not as something dismissive, but as a conclusion, a truth that had already played itself out. For a brief second, neither of us spoke, because there was nothing left that needed to be said. Then I opened the door, stepped outside into the cool night air, and walked away, not angry, not broken, not lost, just finished. And sometimes, that's the strongest place a person can reach. When there's nothing left to prove, nothing left to fix, nothing left to carry, only the quiet understanding that you saw the truth and chose to walk away from it